everybody. Welcome in and welcome aboard to the flight simulator. Yep, Captain Jack here. We are ready to go on a Thursday night, about 6:30 Mountain Time, a little thereafter. And we're listening to a little Unicom traffic there with VATSIM. Want to welcome you in and glad that you could make it with us tonight. We're going to be flying United's 737-900ER, and my good friend Gary, ham radio call sign NC2WX, suggested tonight's flight from Norfolk, Virginia, and KORF. There we've got an American aircraft taking off behind us there, getting ready to taxi out to the runway. So we've got a lot of the pre-flight checklist already done. So let's go ahead and jump in here to the cockpit and get ourselves ready. We're going to go ahead and do the first thing here. We've gone down through the checklist as far as starting as the APU. So let's get our fuel pressure turned on. And we're going to get ready to depart out of here. We'll go ahead and give our APU a start as we see down in the corner here. And let's get our APU bleed on as well. All right, then once again, we've already loaded all the passengers, all the luggage and cargo is loaded. So we've got everything set up to that point. Let's get our altimeter set, and we'll go ahead and hit the B button on the keyboard and do this since we don't have ATC control here. We'll be using Unicom here. Once again this evening, our transponder, let's go down and check the transponder and make sure that's set to 1200. We'll set that to 1200. I was once again hoping for some ATC tonight, but as we can see here on the VAT Spy, we're not really showing anybody covering our area. Our basic flight route tonight is going to be from down here in Norfolk, and we're going to head on up to Newark, New Jersey, and KEWR. We'll get to have a good look probably at the New York City skyline. So that's going to be our basic flight plan tonight. I'll show you guys a couple of more things here as we roll on in the simulator and get everything ready to do. Okay, since everything's loaded up, we can get rid of our our jetway there, so we'll hit that, and we'll watch the jetway start to retract. All right, there goes our jetway, and of course, we're going to close the door. There's the jetway pulling away from us. So let me get over here to that part of the system. All right, we'll get that door closed. Let's return to our FMC where our position initialization menu and uplink are ready. I want to go back through the pages here. Okay, we'll put in our reference airport, which tonight for Norfolk, Virginia, of course, is KORF. All right, there's KORF. Our route is already in. Everything is set. Let's load our performance initialization here. All right.
Traffic, American 1643, lining up and departing runway 5 Norfolk.
All right, we'll let him go ahead and get there. All right, let's look over at our briefing. Okay, our block fuel is 15.3. We'll go ahead and round up from the 7. So 15.3, and then the reserve fuel of 2.5. So 15.3 and 2.5 is 17.7. So that's our total. You know, it should have given us a little bit more fuel there. So let me go back and double check that. Always check your flight plan. So the block fuel is 15.3, and our reserve fuel is 2.5. I'm not sure why. That, you know, I had this problem the other night. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our menu page. We're going to go to our FS Actions, and we're going to give ourselves a total fuel of 17,500. I'm not sure why the software did that. So we'll go ahead and put just a little bit more fuel here in the aircraft. All right, let's get back over to where we were in the FMC. Now we can see we've got 17.6, so our plan again is 15.5. All right, so we've corrected that. We've got to have that reserve fuel in there. It's very important. We'll leave that in there, and we'll go ahead and hit our execute. We've already got everything there. Our outside air temperature at the moment. Let's get into our tool here. And we're going to do some importing here at the moment and import our weather. So we've got 37 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll go back over here and set that for our takeoff climb. All right, that looks good. Flaps, let's go ahead. We need to get some set up from here. So let's take a look at our flight plan. Okay, so we're going to be taking off from runway 05, just like that last aircraft did. So let's go ahead and get back into our performance tool. We're going to be taking off from runway 05. That looks good. Okay, that's given us our runway heading, our runway length, optimum condition, takeoff flaps, optimum. So we'll see what it tells us over here to set that. Our outside air temperature is set. Let's do our takeoff calculation. Trim is set to 4.1, so we're going to do flaps 5 on the takeoff and trim at 4.71. So we'll go ahead and enter flaps 5, and we should see an agreement here once we set our center of gravity, 4.46. That's close enough. Let's go ahead and set that here. So we're going to set right about to the middle position between the 4 mark and the 5 on the takeoff trim. So that looks good. Scott, good morning. Good morning. I read Graham's, it's morning for Graham, but night for us. Scott, hello. Glad to have you here. We're getting set to a takeoff from KORF. All right, we'll go back over here and see our V speeds, 149.15157. Let's put that in. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, we have to do our departure. We're going to take off from runway 05. Let's look back at our flight plan. Okay, 05 and direct to Leah, direct to Lebby, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's good. So we'll go ahead and execute. At that point, we're not going to use the KISS R3 SID. All right, let's check our arrival in Newark, arriving 22 left and direct. So we'll come in on the ILS 22 left. Now, we'll look at our flight plan just a little bit later and see if we have to make some difference or additions in that. So let's go ahead and check our route here and get rid of the discontinuity. Okay, and runway 22, and once again, we'll be checking that as we go in on the flight chart. Will, hello. Can't watch tonight, but I'm glad you got to say hi. I'm glad you got to say hi, William. All right, buddy. Well, you have a good night, and we'll look forward to seeing you here as soon as we can. All right, one more thing I need to do in setting up my instruments. I want to go ahead and get my pop-out screens here for my PFD and MFD, which I have on the screen here in front of me. And we need to start my SimBox connection. I had a little bit of an issue with the simulator before we started out, so I did not get all this stuff done ahead of time. All right, we're going to get our PMDG, and we're going to bring that over to my instrumentation screen. All right, that is set, and we'll minimize that. All right, back to the checklist. Once again, we've got the APUs and everything. The altimeter and transponder is set. Takeoff data. Let's get our cruising altitude here. Let's look for that. All right, our cruise altitude and flight level steps at 170. Now that's really interesting. I've got a cruise altitude set, a flight level 270. So we're going to go with that in the FMC at this time. Glad to see you guys there in the chat, and yeah, say hello to each other, and we'll have a good flight here this evening. This is my next to last flight before my knee surgery. I will have another flight on Monday evening. We'll do that. All right, the radio frequency is set to Unicom. We are good. We are ready for pushback and start. So let's get the anti-collision light. Let's make sure our lights are all set. Our altitude, let's set that, 27,000. We'll check the altitude for Newark, but I know it's not very high there, so we'll go ahead and preset that. All right, 27,000. Okay, before we push back, what I'd like to do, too, is we're going to go ahead and go over to Chart Fox here. So we'll bring that up to where you can see it. All right, let's look at Chart Fox, and we're taking off from runway 05, so we're going to taxi out. We're right here in the terminal at the moment. We're going to taxi out via Charlie down to runway 5, and we need to set 048. We'll make it 049 on the course and the heading. So let's set up 049 there. We can see the heading bug rotating around. That looks correct. All right, we'll set 049 on the first officer's course selection. We're going to turn on our flight directors. We're not going to arm the throttle at this time. All right, we are set to go. Let me go ahead and give an announcement here on the Unicom frequency, and we'll get rolling back and we'll get the engine started. Norfolk Unicom, United 1214, ready for pushback and start. We'll be taxiing to runway 5. We'll announce attentions when we're ready to start the taxi. United 1214. Okay, let's get our pushback set here. Oh, one more thing. Let's check and make sure all the doors are shut. Okay. You know how that went that one time. All right, let's set up our pushback. We're going to push straight out. We're going to remove the chocks. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to put those chocks back for just a minute and start the APU generators. You know, I have missed that a couple of times in the checklist, and I see why. All right, I've got to make a better mark of that. All right, let's set up our APU gen monitor here. All right, we're looking good. All right, now we can take the chocks out. We can select our tug, and we can start our pushback.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Brakes off.
Okay, I'm having a little problem with that there. All right, there we go. That'll do for the moment.
Brakes released.
Brakes released. We are ready.
Brakes released. Here we go.
Okay, we need a V2 plus 15 of 171. And let's go ahead and start our engines. Number 2. Let's get it fired up. Okay, let's check. Packs are all off. Our isolation valve needs to come to open. Recirc's on. Engine bleeds on. Okay, engine is starting, looking good, rolling up to 25% in 2. All right, we'll introduce fuel. We did that with the fuel cutoff idle lever. Let's take a look outside. I absolutely love this 737-900. All right, he's going to come to a stop there. We're going to put the brakes on.
Brake set.
Okay, let's start number 1.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we're going to set our TCAS, traffic collision avoidance system on. Okay, we're coming up on 25% in 2, so we'll go ahead and gas the engine up there. Hope you guys have had a really, really good week. Hey, Chris is here. Chris, welcome. Glad to have you. Now, Chris, were you one of our former VATSIM controllers there? I think I remember you from a couple of weeks ago. But welcome. Glad to have you here. Say hello to Scott. Scott is a real-world pilot, so I always hope I don't embarrass myself here, because Scott's a real-world pilot. All right, we're ready for getting the engine generators on. Let's let the fuel pressure come up. Engine generator number 1 on. Engine gen number 2 on. All right, there's Gen and Gen 2. All right, looking good. So, Chris, it looks, yeah, that's right, Chris, you're a real-world pilot, aren't you? Okay, let's get our packs on. And we can go ahead and turn our APU off. APU is off. Let's turn on our probe heat. Probe heat is on. We're not worried about engine ice today. Okay, we're going to look down through here and make sure that everything is set. All right, let's go through the rest of that checklist. Probe heat is on. Wing and anti-engine ice we're not needing. Engine bleeds are on. Packs and research are auto. Isolation valve is auto. APU bleed and bleed is off. Okay, we're going to go to flaps. We're going to set flaps 5 for takeoff. Looking good. All right, my camera keeps falling tonight, so I'm going to have to fix that a little later. All right, we're going to have some fun with that camera tonight, it looks like, right? All right, back through the rest of the checklist. Elevator trim is set. Flight controls. Let's get back in here. And I like to look at the panel down here, so let's reset the lower panel. Okay, flight controls are full and free, left and right. All looks good. Okay, there we go. Engine and instruments, everything is checked. We're showing flaps 5. We'll go ahead and get our brakes to RTO, and we'll start to taxi on down, and auto throttle we will go ahead and arm. All right, let's make our VATSIM announcement here. Norfolk traffic, United 1214, ready to taxi via Charlie to runway 05. United 1114, Norfolk traffic. Okay, we're ready to go. Yeah, Chris, I'm gonna have to read all these texts, but you're a controller for NorCal. I tell you what, I genuflect in your general direction, man. I tell you, you NorCal guys, you work an awful lot of traffic. It's pretty crazy. I've listened to some of that on occasion, and I think you and Scott are going to have a really good time talking to each other here this evening. All right, let's get that parking brake off and start our taxi to runway 05. Let's get the aircraft moving. This is going to be my first time flying into Newark. I really was hoping that we would have ATC. I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator would come up with an update that would get rid of all the taxiway lights in the middle of the taxiway where they don't belong. Okay, we'll go ahead and get taxiing here. I tell you, Chris, you and Scott, I am honored to have you guys here tonight. Real-world pilots and flight sim or controllers and all that. I'm honored. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to make our way on down to runway 05. There's not really that much else going on here at Norfolk this evening, at least on the VATSIM network. Hey, Chris, would ask you there in the chat window, I'm curious, how long have you been an ATC? How long have you been with air traffic control? And it looks like you've got a really wonderful, wonderful history there. That's really, really amazing. I think you guys are going to enjoy the chat this evening, probably as much as you will the flight. Should have some really spectacular views, though, over Chesapeake Bay and on up over Delaware. And then on into the New York metro area. Wow, Chris, 7 years. And how long have you been doing... well, let me ask you this. Did I ask you, how long have you been doing VATSIM? And once again, I tell you, you guys that do VATSIM really amaze me. You know, some of you in your case do that for a living, a real air traffic control, and then you want to come and do it for us flight sim guys, even some of us who are basically just getting started. I've actually been doing flight simulator for probably 4 years, but just really started to get serious about it here just well, a couple of years ago, actually. All right, and I am getting a message that I'm going to have to reseat my V-speeds, so we'll go back and do that here in just a moment. Actually, let's see if I can pull that up here quick enough. This is where the pilot flying, in this case, is also the pilot monitoring. 17 years on VATSIM, Chris. Man, again, tip of my hat to you, sir. And, you know, you're teaching all of us newbies and airline guys an awful lot, or flight sim guys, I should say, an awful lot. That's really above and beyond the call of duty, I think. All right, let's stop short here and go ahead and put our brake on. I want to reset those takeoff speeds. Yeah, let's reset our V1, V2, and V3. Okay, 158 and 15 for V plus 15. VREF plus 15 is going to be 173. Okay. Back through the checklist, taxi lights and takeoff lights on. Let's lock up our VNAV and LNAV and get that on. Okay, we're not going to get LNAV just a moment. Chris, no kidding. You legitimately owe your career to the network. Man, that, you know, I want to sit and have a chat with you. I'd love to hear more and actually get to hear more. All right, back to the checklist. Let's make sure everything is set, because if I skip over a couple items, like I did earlier, I make mistakes. All right, reset fuel flow. That is good. V-speeds are checked. All right, we are essentially ready for takeoff, so let's reset our clock. All right, the clock is started. And let's pull out onto the runway. Get lined up. Get in the air. I thought we'd be taking off in real time at about 5 minutes till the top of the hour, and we're making that. Okay, we've got, I don't know, United probably doesn't do the turn and burn, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway here. Let's get lined up on the center line nicely. Got a 9,000-foot runway to play with. All right, takeoff speed and toga. Slight pressure forward on the yoke. 80 knots checked. Release the pressure on the yoke. Looking for that V1 speed of about 144.
V1, rotate.
Okay, rotate up. I think I may have came up a little too quick then, but positive rate of climb. Gear up. Heading out over the bay. Look down there. There's the battleship. Man, it's not showing up super great. Yeah, what are those? Yep, Chesapeake Bay ahead, Gary. All right, we need to head up a little more. So let's get some altitude here. Okay, flaps one coming up to retract, and we're going to start a left turn here. All right, flaps full, retract. Try to give you guys some views out the wing. Nice takeoff. The weather right now is clear in Norfolk, but the East Coast is going to get slammed by that winter storm that just came through the Denver, Colorado area, south of us more so. And the next couple of days up the East Coast might be kind of interesting. Okay, we're coming through 6,400 feet. Take a view outside the aircraft here for you. Bring those sounds down just a little bit so I'm not blasting you out there. Wow, what a view. Pretty incredible. Out over the Atlantic, there's the Chesapeake Bridge and Tunnel. Man, that's got to be something really weird, that big, long bridge. And you actually end up going under the water. That's pretty crazy. I've never been to this area in real life. I have to admit that I'd love to do it sometime. Okay, 10,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and hit the autopilot. Get us back in here up on the flight deck and watch our path. Yeah, Gary, you as Scott says, you could be the official tour guide tonight. Okay, you said Naval Air Station Norfolk behind the left wing. Yeah, let's take another look out while we can. Since this is Gary's home stomping grounds and he suggested the flight, so we'll look back at Norfolk there. Oh, no, Gary, you lost the video. Well, go ahead and do a reset and come back. Oh, no. And, of course, you can always catch the replay later, too. We'll take a look at our view out here as we climb through 11,300 feet. Out over the bays. And heading up over southern Delaware. Want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. Yeah, looks really nice. Looks really nice. Bet it costs a lot to live down on those barrier islands, and then you got to watch out for hurricanes and such. You know, I may have said before, but my wife and I have been watching a lot of these beach shows where people are buying beach homes. And it always just amazes me. They buy these fancy, beautiful homes. And I always worry about when the hurricane's going to hit. I got another aircraft up there. Don't forget, too, that we are on Simaware. I'm trying to find us here on Simaware at the moment. Okay, there we go. Now it just updated, so I'll show you here on this screen. So there we are, United 1214. Over the southern tip of, well, no, Delaware's up here. Okay, we're not to Delaware yet. We're still over Maryland. That I don't know the geography of this area that well. And then we can go to our global flight radar for FS Hub. And we're tracking there as well. So I can show you that on the monitor. All right, very good. We're traveling on. You know what? I'm seeing some other VATSIM pop up here, some other controllers. Let's see who we've got. We still don't have anybody for us. Hey, Chris, maybe you could go control for the New York area for us this evening, just so we could have some controller there. Yeah, I remember my uniform tonight, Scott. You're right. I had missed it last flight. Well, doggone, we'll keep watching the VATSIM map here and see if we have somebody come up for us. Right now, it looks like maybe there's a LaGuardia Tower, and maybe they're controlling for Newark as well. Yeah, we'll take a look at that as we get closer in. So in the meantime, let's get back up on the flight deck here and start taking a look at our approach charts. We're making our right turn at Jamie here. Let's go ahead and set our standard altitude. And we're on our way to our cruise altitude of 27,000 feet, but I think it's going to be pretty short. All right, the after takeoff checklist as well. Let's turn our brakes off and bring our landing gear lever to the locked position. Hey, Bernice, hello. Bernice is here. My good friend Bernice, KI0AR, who runs the Colorado Astronomy Net on the SkyHub Link repeater linking system. And you guys can get into that from all over the world. If you're a big astronomy buff, you need to check out Burness's Net and all that they discuss here Tuesday evenings on the skyhublink.com repeater linking system for you ham radio operators. Yeah, Burness, I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. I guess you didn't have a date night tonight, so able to jump in, or maybe you had date night and you're done. That's not a bad deal. You know, I had somebody, by the way, ask me again about my flight simulator and what it looked like here behind the screen. So I brought this picture with me tonight, so I thought I would show you. It's something I've spent quite a deal of time setting up and getting together and putting piece by piece by piece. Of course, here you see the main screen in front of me, and this is my instrumentation screen that I watch. I've got the radio stack over the Bravo throttle quadrant and the Honeycomb Alpha yoke. I hope one day to get the Honeycomb Charlie pedals. That's something I'd really, really like to do. But this is what you're watching me do tonight. You can see my amateur radio over here, a Yaesu FT991A. And then if we go ahead and zoom down into the throttle quadrant and the yoke. Over here in the corner, you can see what I call my throttle cam, which I forgot to put up during takeoff this evening, but we'll certainly use it during landing. But this is what we call our ham radio shack slash flight simulator room. Over here, way to the left, out of view that you can't see, I've got a large equipment rack full of equipment for amateur radio and audio and other things that I do here at my home. So yeah, there's a little tour of the flight simulator. Here's my notepad for taking notes from ATC and my checklist. And over here on this computer to the right, this is the VATSIM communications window that I had open and that I have open now. All right, very good. Let's get back up here on the flight deck. All right, LaGuardia has an approach. That's good. We might try to check LaGuardia ATIS because it looks like that's the closest one to what we're going to be landing at. But I hope to get in touch with whoever is in the tower at LaGuardia. It looks like they've got approach up right now, so I'll go ahead and dial that up, 120.800. Maybe we'll listen in just a little bit and see if we should be able to hear them at this point. Check and make sure I have that in the radio properly, and I do. All right, we'll start listening to LaGuardia Tower just a little bit. Okay. Not quite in range to hear that just yet. But we may give him a call and see if he's handling.
Departure for Cactus 1475, here to our position just to confirm pushback is on our discretion. We'll call for taxi. Cactus 1475.
Yeah, we're still a little bit out of range on that just yet. We're about 22 miles from top of climb. We'll be at 27,000 feet. Okay, I'm going to start pulling up what we're going to need for our approach into Newark. So let's take a look here what we've got. Our landing dispatch. Let's get our landing runway at the moment. And actually what we're going to do before we totally do that, we're going to look up our meet our TAF website and look at what it's telling us for KEWR. So let's get that in there. Bring that up to where you can see it. So 3053 on the altimeter. Winds are 8 knots at 220. So that's coming direct off runway 22. Let's go back and see what our flight plan is telling us as far as what we have planned for landing on the runway. A 22 left. All right, good. That looks good. Runway 22 left, so we'll go back to our performance tool. Two left. Okay, let's import our weather. 37 degrees, 3053. Landing flaps 30. Let's hit that. So we'll get a VREF speed of 154. Okay, that looks good. Let's go back to Chart Fox now. And put in KEWR. Okay, we're not using a SID to come in, or we're not using a star to come in, rather. So let's check our approach. Okay, so we want to use ILS on 22 left. It looks like we could use a Cat 2 or 3. We can line that up and take a look at it. Okay, so here's our approach chart. Okay. So then we're looking at Izeco, Gimme, Zapple, and Buzzard. So let's look at our approach on the FMC. Okay, there we go on our, we fit top of climb. Okay, so there we go. Buzzard, Gimme, Tykes, and Leb-V. Now, I'm not seeing Tykes and Leb-V on this approach. Okay, let me show you guys this screen too. Okay, so we're looking over here on our right FMC. Well, actually, they both got it up. So Leah, Leb-V, Tykes, and then Gimme, and then on into Buzzard and runway 22 left. Okay, that looks good. That actually looks good on the approach chart for what we're going to need. Okay, so our ILS frequency is going to be 108.7. Our approach course will be 219. Touchdown zone is going to be 11 feet. Not very high there. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up a couple of those things here. Our approach course, once again, as the chart told us, is going to be 219.
Looks like you're clocking 777.
Okay, and we're about, looks like 60 miles away from top of descent. Set the FO's course.
Departure Cactus 1475 out of the Bravo terminal. We're ready for taxi.
Cactus 1475, near Park runway 31, taxi via Bravo Zulu.
Bravo Zulu, runway.
And we'll see if he gives us any vectors that he wants us to do, but other than that, we're going to continue to follow the flight plan and course. All right, let's take a look outside the airplane. We haven't done that in a while. Oh, man. Flying up and over Delaware Bay. There we go. Let me bring the chat window back up in there. You guys have been chatting amongst yourselves. You know, Bernice, it's interesting that you should say it's more fun to fly upside down. I've got a friend who's a real pilot with United, and he told me that, of course, they do a lot of simulator training and, you know, keeping up to date and everything that they end up having to do. And one thing that he had happen one time is he goes into a simulation and the instructors literally had the plane turned upside down and said, okay, how do you get out of it? And he said that would never happen in the real world. He wasn't necessarily real happy that he had to deal with that, but very interesting stuff there. All right, I was just checking a couple of things over there as we fly over the lower end of Delaware Bay, and of course that's Cape May Point down here on the southern tip.
Good evening, Endeavor 2161.
Almost looks like a much smaller version of Florida. Another aircraft way off in the distance up above us there.
161 near the first block, 1611. 1611.
Okay. Let's come back up here on the flight deck.
5161 radar contact over Beauty, maintain 10,000.
Okay, I've got an overspeed alarm. I'm not sure how that happened. All right, let's get ourselves slowed down here. Yeah, for some reason or another, when we were out there viewing, I let the aircraft get into an overspeed condition. Well, looks like we caught it in time. Yeah, guys, I am not Captain Canada, man. I tell you, that guy never makes any mistakes. Our yaw damper is off. I'm going to turn that back on because I know that was on earlier. I checked that as part of the checklist. Boy, I never see that guy make any mistakes. It's pretty incredible. You know, Scott and I were talking, too. One day, Scott and I are going to figure out a way for him to interact simultaneously here and make that kind of a something I haven't seen somebody else do before. It might be fun. Gary, looking back up through the chat here, what's the sim flight tracker to use? You can use two of them, either simaware.ca, Charlie Alpha, simaware.ca, and you can put in UAL 1214. Or you can use the global flight radar on FS Hub, and you can look for Captain Jack. Yeah, there we go. I'll pull that one up here and show to you as well. No, not that one. This one. Okay, there we go.
1475, runway 31, line up away, traffic 4 mile final, runway 22.
Right now in FS Hub, I'm the only aircraft over southern New Jersey. And of course, you can see our destination up here. And then if we go to simaware.ca, there we are, UAL 1214, but you can also go in the search box here and go UAL 1214. Okay, why is that not giving me any search results? Okay, let's try that. There we go. No space. So you can click on that and then go en route. And there you go. You get a flight aware type tracker. Okay, we're a little over 25 miles from top of descent into Newark.
1018 traffic departs runway 31.
Watching traffic here for Delta
3997, leaving my airspace. Your radar service terminated. Frequency change approved. Have a good night.
Hey, have a good night, Endeavor 3997.
Airspeed low.
Okay, now I'm getting an airspeed low alarm. There's our problem. The auto throttle control popped off. Either I bumped something. Okay, we're going to get our airspeed back up here where we're supposed to be. So I'm going to take manual control. Yeah, we're getting a stall alarm. I think I probably was not paying close enough attention to everything. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set our altitude for our insert into the ILS. Okay, why am I not getting?
Texas 1475, radar contact, on maintaining 15,000.
Yeah, we're getting some weird stuff
Look,
going on here.
15,000, we're leaving 2,000 feet, Cactus 1475.
Okay, guys, I got to figure out what's going on here. The simulator's misbehaving. Pull this back up. Scott, you got any ideas? Yeah, let's go ahead and descend. It's going to throw my flight path off. So
Texas 1475, turn left heading 340.
Left heading 340, Cactus 1475.
don't know why I'm not getting any more energy out of the engines. Yeah, see, the simulator's being weird here. Okay, let's silence that.
Delta 1018, welcome to New York. Bravo, Echo Alpha to the ramp. Good night.
Okay. Now we're nosing up again.
For Delta 1018, thanks so much. And also want to pass along thanks to you, one of our VA pilots, Mark Hewer, Delta 19.
Okay, our airspeed's back up.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Okay, at this point, I don't want to climb anymore, so I think I'm going to go. And we're getting close to top of descent. Why is that nose that is coming up? There's all kinds of weird stuff going on here. Okay, let me get myself stabilized. Okay, now let's watch our descent. Yeah, Scott, thanks. I appreciate that. That you say I didn't get any more power because I was behind the power curve. Yeah, I have heard of that, and I know what that is, but I'm still learning. All right, let's go ahead and get into our descent. The airplane should bring itself back into where we need to be here shortly. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened or why we had that anomaly to start with. That would be something that would be interesting. All right, let's get back on track with what we are. So we're landing on runway 22 left via ILS, so let's get that set.
17,000 feet, Cactus 1475.
5161.
Okay, we're looking at a 1,500-foot entry point for the ILS. So I'm going to set for 1,300 at this point, and we can tell that we're under our program flight path. So I think what I want to do here is I want to fly level. I'm going to come back and fly level and try to correct for this. I am not sure what happened there. That is the first time that's ever happened to me in any of my flight simulations. Okay, let's do an altitude hold at 22,000 feet until I can re-engage.
Airspace radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
What's the Trevor Unicom? You have a nice day. Cactus 1475.
Thank you, flying.
Okay, so our
1038 to center main.
altitude is,
8,000.
our altitude is not reducing, but we're coming back on the flight path here. Yeah, that'll be good, Scott. You know, I was doing all that touring outside the aircraft, so that probably had something to do with it. All right, let's get our speed down as well. Okay, we're within 2,400 feet of being back on the flight path, at which point I'll engage the VNAV. You know, Scott, if you want to, go ahead and put it in the chat window there. It'd be interesting for others who might want to know. Did I have a simulator error, or did I make a mistake? I would certainly like to debrief on that. Okay, 1,300 feet below the flight path, we should be able to re-engage the vertical navigation here pretty soon, and our speed is coming down. Man, oh man, a lot of things to watch. But I have not had that happen before. That's a new one. Okay, within 300 feet. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's re-engage the VNAV and allow the airplane to track vertically properly. Scott, you say it actually had to do with the improper weather updating in Flight Sim 2020. It was supposed to be fixed, but it happens occasionally still. Interesting. This is the first time that I've ever seen that. Okay, and I do not... Let's go ahead and keep the speed down a little bit as we descend. Now we're above. Now we've got to start manually descending. It's because I'm at 22,000 feet. All right, let's get back in here. This is a real good one for showing me how much I don't know yet. I got way too distracted and way too busy there. Okay, let's see if we can't get back on that descent profile.
070 for vectors.
Okay, we're descending decently if I can keep our speed.
Delta 1038, just going to maintain 4,000, depart Apple, direct LaGuardia.
Down 4,000.
Yep, there you go, Scott. Good advice, for sure. Coming to through 18,000 feet. Let me get a reread on that. Okay, 35.3, so 3053. Okay. Gives us a little more there. Okay, let's see where we are. 18.3 and descending, and we're, let's see, off-scale traffic. Okay. Coming up on Tykes. You know, I'm starting to think I might end up having to vector myself a little bit here. No, come back up here. Okay, let's see if I can get a decent... No, we are still... Boy, I cannot get back on that flight path.
Turn left heading 040 to
Okay, here she comes.
Left heading 040, 3000.
LaGuardia Tower, this is United 1214 at 15,000 feet, bound for Newark. Are you controlling Newark this evening?
Negative, sir. Just the LaGuardia area.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll switch back to Unicom, United 1214. Okay, flight path is coming back in. I'm going to get back down to my altitude that we should be at. And I'm going to re-engage the VNAV here momentarily and then start managing speed. AB8, navigate, communicate. That's right, buddy. That's right. Okay. VNAV is re-engaged, which is also going to take care of our speed at this point. And we can see here that we're back on the descent profile. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment now. I'm going to go to the flight plan. Okay, we've got an error. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay. We're going to give ourselves our own flight vectors because we've got a problem here. It's taking us here to Gimme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to program in I'm not liking what this flight plan is doing at all. Okay, so we're going to put in, I'm looking at the approach chart. I'll show this to you guys here in just a minute. Pattern. And we're going to do that. And then IZECO. Okay, IZECO. Okay, now what we've done, yeah, you can see here on the chart, on the MFD, okay, we're going to come up this side of the magenta line, and then we're going to join the localizer at IZECO. So that will be good. Okay, now the aircraft is heading the way that we need it to. But we're below 10,000 feet and we're at 284 knots. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get that speed down. Go ahead and put in some speed brake. Okay, I'm aviating, Scott. All right. We're going to have the airport that we're landing at as we're over. There's Manhattan. And coming in over Newark. Look at all the populated up there, and the airport is off over in this direction. Okay, we're going to get back in the aircraft, and we're going to come back to our map, We're going to set baro. We've got our altimeter set. Let's go through the checklist now that I can breathe for a little bit. Okay, nav, course, and frequency. Let's get our frequency in there of 108.7 for the ILS. And I've got that in nav radio 1 and now nav radio 2. Okay, those are set. Actually, you know what I could do is I could bring this camera up and you can see me do a little of that. So I just set those up in the nav sections of the radio, 108.7, 108.7. So we're good for the ILS. Okay, approach. Let's do a reset on the speed brake there because we're down at speed. Good. We're looking pretty good so far at the moment. Okay, minimums are set to baro. Let's real quick get our fixed strings in here. Okay, we'll check our progress. 11.2, 10.9, that's 0.3. So we'll set our VREF, so we need 154.6. Okay, and we're going to set our VREF speed at flaps 30 and a speed of 147. Okay, that looks good. All right, back to the checklist as we continue on. You can see that we've got our range rings set up. And the airport now is right below our right nose down there. Okay. There's our airport out that right window. Newark Unicom, Newark traffic, United 1214. Running parallel, runway 22 left at the moment. We'll be turning for final at Gimme. United 1214. Newark traffic. All right. Yeah, it's really interesting how we had those speed alarms and everything got really just convoluted there for a little bit. Never saw that before. Okay, looking out that passenger window, there's the airport. And the west side of Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, we're looking pretty good at this point. Scott, I think we recovered pretty well from that. Okay, landing and taxi lights are on. We're definitely below 10,000 feet. And I am showing below profile and descending. At Izeco, I need to be at 3,000 feet, so we'll keep on a descent to 3,000 feet. And once we hit Izeco right here, we should be at 3,000 feet and start being able to pick up on the approach. Out the co-pilot's window. You know, I've never landed the airplane in the co-pilot's window. That might be interesting to try one evening. Okay, 3,800 feet. Okay, we'll be on about a 10-mile final when we turn into runway 22 left on the approach. So speed is good. As a matter of fact, I can start bringing that down. I'm going to bring that down manually to 210. Yeah, it's a real different perspective, Scott, from the co-pilot's seat. You're right. And, you know, all this time of flying, I have never not sat in the left seat. I really should do that, but I don't think I'm going to do it right now. This flight was a little bit tricky. Okay, we're lower than I really would like for us to be at this point. Okay, we're making that right-hand turn. Newark Traffic United 1214, turning base for Izico. And then we'll be on about a 10-mile final for runway 22 left. United 1214, Newark Traffic. Okay, we're going to hold this altitude for just a moment, and I'm going to start watching. Let's get our backup approach. I'm going to start watching for our magenta diamond to come into play. And then we're going to make that turn at Izico. So we're holding at about 2,500 feet right now because we were descending too much. We should be at 3,000 feet at Izico, so we're low at the moment. All right. Newark Traffic United 1214, turning 10-mile final for runway 22 left. United 1214, Newark. Okay, and we're going to watch that magenta diamond. And we're getting on the approach path. Okay, here comes the magenta diamond. And once it gets right in between those two, I'm going to go ahead and arm our approach. Okay, approach is armed. Now we're just going to manage the speed. I'm going to go ahead and bring our speed down and give ourselves flaps 5. Let's go ahead and lower the gear. Gear is on its way down. Yeah, Graham, there's New York, Manhattan Island over there to the left out our pilot's windows. Huge area, indeed. All right, let's get set here. All right, glide slope is alive, gear is down, flaps, we're set. Landing gear 3 green, we've got that. We're 5 miles out. 6 miles, actually. All right, let's get our flight recorder for recording our landing. Have the runway in sight. Okay, tonight we'll have a landing replay. Okay, let's go flaps 15 and get our speed down. 5 miles out. Newark Traffic United 1214, 5-mile final, runway 22 left. United 1214, Newark. Okay, well, with everything we had go wrong on that approach to top of descent, we're looking pretty good. We recovered out. Everything's good. Okay, about 2.5 miles out. Okay. Flaps 30. Let's get that speed down to our VREF. We're going to hold VREF plus 15. Quick look out, and there's the runway. Okay. We are looking indeed good. All right, I am going to take the throttle, my throttles. Let's keep that speed there. Going to stay on our approach here. We've got a 9-knot wind just off the right of the nose at about our 1 o'clock. 400. Okay, we got a stable approach. I'm going to set our missed approach altitude to 4,500 feet. All right. And my airplane. Got to stay on that center line. You got 2 white, 2 red. Just, little corrections here.
100.
Nice.
50.
Eyes at the end of the runway.
50. 20.
Throttle back. Hold that nose up.
10.
Okay. Little off center line. We'll get back on center line. Apply reverse thrusters. Okay, manual brakes. All right. And we'll go ahead and vacate the runway. I did a manual brake slowdown that time. Okay, let's pull up here and clean up the aircraft a little bit. I need to get my bearings on where we're going to taxi, so we're going to bring the flaps and speed brakes up. Yeah, that was a good landing. We'll go back and look at it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you riding along with me. Since we don't seem to really have too much traffic or anything else going on, we're just going to let the aircraft sit here for just a second. And I think we'll go ahead and replay the landing there, get a couple of views of that, see what it looked like. I did get a minus 262 on the, I meant to put this up in this window. We got a minus 262 tonight. I'm pretty happy with that, 1.07 G. I don't think the passengers minded that at all. So we're going to go ahead and close landing rate monitor so that we don't get any more up on it. Let's hit our replay. I'm going to hit pause. And let's get it in here and resume. And let's take a look outside and see what it looks like there.
400.
Our attitude looks real good. I love that you can see the shadow. There's our throttle back. And nose touchdown. Yeah, this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and take a look outside our passenger's window here. Yep, that's Manhattan Island over there. There we go. Coming in, throttle back. Set down. All right, let's look at it one more time here. And we'll look out the other side. Hey, there's a car driving along the freeway. I'm going to have to go back and look at Newark and Google Earth over the railroad tracks. Yeah, that was a good approach, good landing. I'm very happy with that. Honestly, I'd love to get those numbers even better, make it a little smoother, flare up just a little bit more, get my speed managed a little bit better. Hardly any waggle in the wing there. I'll take that. Now remember, in the replays, we're not showing the flaps down for some reason. Not sure why, but okay. Let's get one more angle on this. And let's look at it from the bright side of the airplane. Now, Scott, you say you have birds in your simulator. Did you see? I didn't see any birds. If you did, that's funny. That is funny. Over the threshold, 50 feet, nose back a little bit there. Didn't land quite on the center line, but you know, the thing is too, in the 737-900, you really got to watch out for tail strikes. Yeah, all right. Tell you what, like I said, that was a really good landing. There we are, vacating the runway. And we'll let the aircraft pull up to a stop here. And well, guys, I really enjoyed that. That was a fun flight. Had a little bit of a challenge in it. The scenery was beautiful. The company was great. I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, that's going to be probably my last flight here before. Well, no, actually, I'll have one Monday night. I will do a flight Monday night. Watch your email. By the way, I've got the new email that you can see. Which way am I pointing here? Yeah, there we go. Over there to the right, Captain Jack Flight Sim at Outlook.com. You can you get in touch with me that way if you would like. Suggest a flight. And, you know, we're learning. We're learning how to do this and how to indeed make it all happen. I'm going to go ahead and taxi to the gate and wrap the sim up. Yeah, Scott, you know, I'm going to have to look at those aircraft a little bit more because I'd like to see some of what you've been flying there. And now we've got this thing again to where I got to get the aircraft running, so we're going to get it screaming at me here. Okay, there we go. Now it's, yeah, this is something else that's weird in the simulator too. So we're going to taxi over to the building via Nancy. Golly, slow down, dude. And we're going to cross the runway without looking and see if we can get taxied in there. I may have to get some Newark Airport scenery too. That just kind of looks like a concrete building there, doesn't it? And I do not know any of the gates at Newark, so I'm not sure where I should be going. One of the things that I'm trying to do is learn the different airports by looking them up before I land at them. But like I said, as Mr. Miyagi said, landing at Newark, first time you, first time me. Graham, good night. Thanks for being here. So wonderful to have you. I really appreciate it. Chris, Scott, of course, and Gary, appreciate you giving us a really good location and interesting flight here this evening. And we'll go ahead and say God bless you and Merry Christmas. I hope to see you again here on Monday evening. Sometime I might do a long flight. Oh, you know, I need to, let's turn on the APU, so I'll turn that on here on my other screen. And we'll pull up to the gate here. and start disembarking passengers. And one day I'm going to buy GSX, and now I know I need to pull forward just a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah, she's going to yell at me. Get up there on that line, because GSX actually has an air marshal that will guide you in. Okay, we'll call that good. We'll get the parking brake on. Okay, the APU is ready, so we can turn on the APU gens. That's good. Let's get our fuel turned off here. And we'll go ahead and bring our engine cutoffs to cut off and shut the engine down. Back into our menu here and call for ground services and set our chocks and call for the jetway. And call for the jetway. Hello, jetway. Okay, it may take it a minute to get here. Yeah, it's going to wait for the engines to shut down is what's going to go on. And we're all by ourselves here anyway in the simulator at Newark. So once again, I want to thank everybody for being here. It certainly was a tremendous amount of fun tonight. Okay, is the jetway waking up? I think it's going to here in a minute. Come on, jetway. Okay, the engines are pretty much shut down. Okay, electrics are off. We'll leave some air conditioning for the passengers here for just a moment. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and say goodnight, everybody. Say goodnight, everybody. Good night, everybody. And I appreciate you being here with me. It was a lot of fun. We will see you on the next one. Watch that email once again. And at this point, we'll look at Monday evening. But who knows? We might throw a weekend flight in, too. We'll see what happens, all right? Well, good night. God bless you. Merry Christmas. And see you next time. Take care.